feeling a little bit nervous. Hello, ni hao, xin chào, whatever else your greeting of choice may be from Haiphong, Vietnam. It is Saturday, the 14th of December, the day before the Haiphong Marathon. And I'm just here at the Haiphong Expo to pick up my bib number and t-shirt, whatever other goodies there are, and just have a quick look around. Alright, that's all taken care of. Picked up my bag, bib, t-shirt, a bunch of other random goodies, like really terrible baseball cap. And yeah, had a little look around, tried to buy some gels, but couldn't because they won't take cash, which is kind of annoying. Not really a lot else going on here. Yeah, no souvenirs other than this stuff. Although, what I will say is there's a lot more in this bag. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but there's certainly a lot more in this bag than I got from the Halway race, which was basically just a bib and a t-shirt. So if you take a look at that map, it's not an out and back or like a circular route like all of the marathons that I've run before. It's a point to point where the finish is quite far away from the start line. And not only that, but there is a huge, like 10, almost 12 kilometers straight right at the end. This opinion might not be shared by everybody, but I know it's shared by a lot of people who run. And it's that running along long straight lines really gets to you. It's very easy to get that feeling that you're going nowhere forever. The other thing is it's not too far from the coast, and if there's a wind blowing in my face, no matter how well I'm doing, no matter how good I'm feeling, that last stretch is not going to go well. Part of me is kind of tempted just to find these guys in the 3:30 pacer group tomorrow and just follow them along. This training block hasn't really gone to plan in terms of my fitness, but I still think a 3:30 or sub 3:30 is definitely manageable. Also, I've never actually run with a pacing group before, so it might be a different experience. All right, supermarket time. I do need to pick up some stuff for food for the family and also some stocking fillers for kiddo. But my main thing from a running point of view here is something for breakfast tomorrow, some sort of oat-based drudgery, I guess, and something that will work hydration-wise for the race. This will be the first marathon that I've ever done where I haven't taken a hydration vest with me. And I'm a little bit concerned about just relying on the drinks at the aid stations. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but my PB marathon last year, I did stop to run into a shop at about kilometer 40 because I felt that dehydrated. And that was with my hydration vest. Probably lost a few seconds, but that's not the point. Fun fact about all of the domestic Vietnamese sports drinks, or at least all the ones I've found so far, is that they are all fizzy, which implies they were designed by somebody who has never attempted to drink while doing sport. All right, back at home. You might have noticed from the woolly jumper and the coat and the hat I was wearing, it's quite cold in Haiphong at the moment. So hey, here's our goodie bag. Here's the stuff we got. Might as well just open it and go through it. Awful looking Herbalife baseball cap. Marathon t-shirt. See if I can actually figure out how to open this. I think it's quite a nice one, this one, but yeah, certainly not the worst in the world. But for anyone who might ever watch this who is in any way involved in designing shirts for races, there are more colors in this world than red and blue. All right, on top of that, obviously we have our, I want to be careful with this, I don't want to damage it, little bib number there. What else we got? Some random vouchers for breakfast stuff. Somebody also gave me a free Haiphong tourism book, which actually might be quite nice. Bang Me Gai coaster for putting your drinks on. I do actually need some coasters. Yeah, if you don't know what Bang Me Gai is, Haiphong has a sort of specialty food thing called Bang Me Gai, where they're really, really thin and they're full of pate and they're like deep fried. If you were like a kid, like 10 or whatever, I'm sure they would be amazing. And then if you're an adult, they're just sort of greasy, horrible junk food. But that's a thing. Okay, what else we got? We have some kumquat tea, fairly standard stuff. I don't know what. Okay, I don't read Vietnamese. I should really work on that. Peppermint essential oil stuff. You get the most random stuff for this. Commat. So herbal energy drink. Red Horse by the looks of it. Also this horrible waffle thing, which I will be giving to the kid immediately because I ain't eating that. That is everything that is in my little goodie bag. So I'm gonna go and chill out for a little bit, and then I will maybe pop out for some coffee and have a little chat about expectations, targets, and all of that sort of stuff. Had a change of clothes since our last little chat, mainly because I got vomited on, one of the perks of being a parent. Felix has come down with a cold, which means that I have come down with a cold. At least that's what I'm hoping is just a cold. So if you'll excuse me a second, just gotta see if getting some of this down me is gonna make things better. That's strong. All right, now the medicine's working its way through my veins. I guess we can start. So usually I'd talk about goals or expectations or whatever on the morning of the race, but tomorrow's race kicks off at 3 a.m. That means that I'm gonna be getting up tomorrow about 1 o'clock in the morning. The temptation is to get up as late as possible just to get more sleep, but I need to get up, let my body realize that no, this is happening, I'm waking up now. And 1 is probably the latest I can do that, really. And so getting up at 1, setting up at 3, most of the race, if not all of the race, is going to be in darkness. Probably not going to be great for talking about my goals. First, I will mention the weather. As I've mentioned, it's kind of cool, cold even in Haiphong at the moment. I've looked at the weather forecast for tomorrow's race, and I think it said it should be sort of 13 to 15 degrees. So the main deal is expectations. Obviously this training block has been sort of up and down, and I haven't really reached the potential that I thought I had at the beginning of the year. I mean, I'm not even back to where I was sort of midway through the year. And so I'm not currently envisioning me running a PB. My current PB is 3 hours, 19 minutes, and 30 something or 40 something seconds, I can't really remember. I set that last year. Oh, come on. Got me some juice as well, hoping to boost the vitamin C. So interestingly, Garmin does have me down as a predicted marathon time of round about what my PB is, but my experience with Garmin and with all of the sort of online calculators is that it generally underestimates my ability in the sort of 5 and 10K and overestimates my ability in the half marathon and marathon. So if a PB is out of the question tomorrow, then what am I going for? Like in terms of target, that's easy. My target is to set off and maintain a heart rate of around about 162 beats per minute for the first 20 kilometers. And then after that, once the heart rate starts to creep up gradually, just try and maintain whatever pace I was holding for the first 20K. That's basically my target for every marathon. If you're new to running and not familiar with heart rates, I should say 162 to 164 is sort of my target marathon heart rate. It's not universal. In terms of sort of my expectations or even my hopes, the last 3 weeks have been pretty good training wise, and from the paces I've been holding, the heart rates I've been at, how I felt, a couple of marathon tempo sort of training runs that I've done, I feel like a sub 3:30 is a very realistic target. Alright, just having a cup of tea. Dien Hong, in case anyone was wondering. Just thought I'd take the opportunity to be like, welcome to my humble abode. Check out that Christmas tree. I think the last time this was in a video, our living room was a complete barren space. Just thought, might as well throw in a little wander around. And here we are. I'm quite impressed with this. It was like equivalent of 300 kwai for this Christmas tree. So like 30 something quid. And for a plastic tree, because obviously there aren't a lot of like farms selling like fir trees or whatever, I'm very, very impressed with this. Oh, so yeah, I'm just gonna sit down here and enjoy my cup of nice, probably currently too hot to drink tea. And I'm expecting kiddo to wake up any moment now. All right, the last thing I just wanted to go through before the race was gear, what I'm gonna be taking tomorrow. Because while it isn't everything, some people are interested in it, and it can make a difference. So yeah, t-shirt. I was gonna go with my Be My singlet, but seeing as the weather looks like it's gonna be a little bit nippy, let's just say, and there's a possibility it might rain, and singlets aren't really the most comfortable things, so I thought I would go with a t-shirt, and I picked the most comfortable one I have, that it now occurs to me is inside out, which is, and I was complaining about colours, this one is still blue, but it's blue and white, and it is the one from Ultra Trail Nanjing, the only race t-shirt I have for a race that I didn't actually do because I cancelled. I feel a little bit weird about that, but it's such a nice t-shirt. I like it, so I'm going to take that. In terms of shorts, going to take the nice light Under Armour shorts I have.
Got another pair of Nike shorts, but they don't, for some reason they're like the elastic, the waist thing, you can't really pull it very tight. And Nike have quality issues with their stuff. Again, Under Armour undershorts, just because Under Armour makes some pretty decent clothes and it's pretty cheap. I have a flip belt, which I do not think is a good piece of equipment. I would not recommend anybody buys. I think it's way too niche, doesn't have enough storage, it doesn't really offer any benefits, and it is an absolute pain to get things into and out of when you are running. However, this is about the only thing that I have. All of my other marathons previously, I've run with a hydration vest, but I left that in Shanghai. I forgot to bring it with me, and I haven't bought a new one, partly because that would involve telling my wife that I forgot it and left it in Shanghai, and I just don't really want to see that look in her eyes. Sock wise, I'm going with the Injinji like toe socks, like the glove socks that you put on your feet. People rave about these. I think they're good. I'm not like overwhelmed by them, they're not amazing or anything, but I think they do give me the best chance of my toes not rubbing together and having issues. And then underwear is underwear. Random like bamboo-esque material sort of stuff that I got from China. It's pretty cheap, it's really comfortable. It's better than any sports underwear or any other underwear. And that is what I'm going to be wearing. Might take a headband because I really need to have a haircut. I really should have had a haircut. Anyway, the most important thing, at least I feel like is the most important thing, might annoy some people to say this, is shoes. Aha! So I've run 4 marathons now. The first one I ran in the Nova Blast 1. Fantastic shoes, abysmal lineage. But yeah, for me, those were my favorite long run shoes, and I haven't quite been able to replace them just yet. And the other 3 marathons, I used the Vaporfly Next Percent 2. But if you've seen any of my previous videos, you may well know that I got my mileage out of those and left them in Shanghai too. So I have moved on to my second pair of carbon plated racing shoes. Not the second pair of carbon plated racing shoes that I've owned, but the second carbon plated shoes that I actually use as racing shoes. And those are the New Balance RC Elite V2. Now obviously these are a little bit outdated now. They were last year's model when I bought them last year at the New Balance 10K in Shanghai. They were half price, and wearing New Balance shoes at the race gave me a refund of the entrance fee, and kind of they worked out as less than half price. And they've been really fantastic. I haven't really worn them in that many races except for that 10K, just because the Vaporfly was true tested, like I knew I could rely on them to help me run fast. But ever since I got these, I felt like the comfort, like way more comfortable than the Vaporfly, and that comfort level and the fact that you're going at a slower pace over a marathon made me think that these might honestly be preferable marathon shoes. Now that Vaporfly's out of the way, I'm finally going to get the chance to take them on a full marathon and see if they reach the potential that I think they have. And so that is my gear for tomorrow. I've had my food, it's almost 7 o'clock. Got to get out of bed at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. So even if I went to sleep now, it wouldn't really be a full night's sleep. What I can do is go to bed early, pop the white noise on, and just try and at the very least get some rest in bed. Oh, almost forgot, gels. So I've got 9 of these bad boys, if I can count right, and yeah, 1 of them is for the start line, basically just a little boost, and then I'm thinking of taking 1 every 5 kilometers.
Hello, and welcome to 1 AM, everybody's favourite time to be awake. My time to force some breakfast down, against my body's will.
Alright, breakfast done, got dressed. This is ready to go. I'm kind of nervous now. I don't want to go. I don't feel like I can finish a marathon. It's time to hop on the motorbike, get the missus to give me a lift down there, and then see what happens. Bye-bye. Lots of people jogging in as a warm-up. I can't think of anything worse to do. I've already got to run 42 kilometers. I don't want to add an extra 2 kilometers like as a warm-up jog. People are jogging quite far out. Yeah, so out here, thought it might be feeling colder than it is. It's a bit nippy, but it's not too bad. Although what I will say is this is horrible weather to be on the back of a motorbike for. Portaloos back there, there's only about 5 of them, but not a huge queue right now. Don't actually seem to be that many people here, which is kind of weird. Bag drop area. I'm not dropping a bag because Neom's picking me up, hopefully. Hopefully, otherwise I'm boned. I think the start line was down this way. Where's my, oh yeah, no, my finger, you can't see it. So yeah, I'm just gonna walk down there. Okay. Alright, on the start line,
ready to get going. A bit noisy, so I won't be saying much more, but yeah.
5, 6, 5,
Alright, missed the kilometre marker, but we just hit 5k. I'm holding pretty steady at sort of mid to low 450s, which is fine. Still on target currently at this pace for about 328 or something. If it had been lower, we'd have been sort of low to mid 440s. I might have had a difficult choice to make it halfway as to whether to push or not. Unfortunately, we're going to be way off PB pace by almost 10 minutes. And so there's no real temptation to go faster. And the target is now very much set in stone. Let's see if we can keep the pace up, make it a smooth one, and beat 3:30 in a, I don't want to say competitive, organised marathon for the first time.
I know it might sound weird, but knowing a PB was off the cards was a relief, as it meant I didn't have to push too close to the line. I was feeling good at this point, as expected, but I did have a couple of weird heart rate spikes in the first couple of kilometers, hitting about 150 beats, which I'd usually expect closer to the end of a 5k. I'm really not sure what that was all about, but luckily it didn't happen again, and spoiler alert, I didn't die during this race.
10k in, so second up check-in. Pretty much the same as the first one, holding a similar pace, similar heart rate. So far all's all right. I mean, you wouldn't expect any sort of niggles or pain or difficulties at this stage of the marathon anyway. Pretty much just sort of settling in. I think I've almost caught up with the 3:30 pacers. They started ahead on the start line, so once I catch up with them, I might just drop in with them for a few k. Keep things steady.
Looking at the footage, I crossed the start line about 27 seconds in. That's not something I'd usually focus on, but for some reason the organisers only announced gun to finish time after the race. So it's something to keep in mind when it comes to working out what my actual finish time was, although even that will turn out to be a little controversial. Anyway, back on point, the pacers started up front, which is why it took me this long to catch them, even though I was going at under 3:30 pace myself.
Just went through 15 kilometers. I've caught on the back of the 3:30 pacing group, and I'm just sort of sat at the back of this group now. I've heard a lot of people say they don't really like running pacing groups. It's the first time I've ever done it, and I've got to say, I'm quite happy here. I think I could chill out for the rest of the race like this, see how things go.
That may, or may not, we'll see, turn out to be a bit presumptuous of me. But at this point I was feeling strong and controlled, and the pacing group was going right around the speed I was happy to hold. This wasn't just my first time running with pacers, it was the first time I'd really had a group of any sort to stick with during a marathon. Maybe in bigger events where these groups are bigger, it gets a bit congested, but there were only about 24 people in this group, and I genuinely really enjoyed being part of the pack.
Just past 20k, so almost halfway there. Legs are starting to ache a little bit, but nothing too serious right now. Yeah, still with the back of this pacer group. Honestly, I do think I'm probably just going to stick with them to the end, because they are going at about my pace, being pretty consistent at 162 BPM heart rate. And yeah, it's just nice running on the back of this without having to think and constantly check my wrist for time. And the other thing to report, screw just fell out my GoPro selfie stick. I had to stop and take that up, which put me off my rhythm a bit. Had a little bit of a dash to catch back up with this group, just because at this stage I don't really want to fall behind, even if it's just a little bit. And yeah, other than that we're good. What are we, 4 gels in? Almost halfway. And yeah, nothing else to report.
This was the darkest stretch of road on the route, and not one I was expecting to be mentally challenging. I was worried about the final 10 to 12 kilometers straight that I'd convinced myself would have a headwind and was going to be pure mental and physical torture. In my mind, this current section was just a quick little detour out and back before the real challenge begun. And at this point, that's pretty much what it was.
Quick little mini update, just went through the halfway point, 1:43.25. So yeah, nicely on target, easily on target to go sub 3:30. And yeah, currently not starting to melt.
25k done, past the 2 hour mark. I had fallen off the back of this group and still kind of keeping contact, but then hello, bit of a headwind started to pick up. Luckily we're not on the 12k straight, so that doesn't necessarily bode badly. I just thought I'd have to give it some welly to catch up to these guys. Hope I could use them as a windbreak.
And this is where, in retrospect, I think I made a bit of a tactical error. As my first marathon without a hydration vest, I was perhaps overly worried about becoming dehydrated. And at this stage, I started grabbing 2 drinks from every aid station, which basically put me into a cycle of catching back up to the pacer group, then slowing down at the aid stations, losing my rhythm and falling behind before expending a whole bunch more energy just to catch up again. In retrospect, I don't think I was even close to dehydration, and I think what I should have done is ignore half of the aid stations completely and just focus on sticking with the group.
30k, I'm really struggling now. That last k was really slow. The pacing group's kind of vanishing off into the distance, and I'm starting to think that 3:30 is going to take a strength of will I don't think I possess. Still no sign of the sun coming up. And we've just started the 12 kilometer straight of death, so that'll be fun.
Not to spoil the next update, but straight of death is a misnomer. I didn't know it at the time, but the hardest stretch of this race was behind me. This is why I think, in retrospect, I made a mistake by not just sticking with the group and keeping a constant rhythm. By slowing down at the aid stations and potentially sticking too much sloshy fluid in my stomach, I created a sense that I couldn't keep up. Whereas if I'd have just stuck through it for a few more kilometers and made it to this final straight in contact with the group, I think there's a decent chance I could have kept with them to the end. And again, not to spoil things, but in the context of what happened in the final kilometer, that could have made a huge difference.
35k in, it's time to dig deep. It started to drizzle a little bit, which actually, if anything, is a relief. I called this the 12 kilometer straight of death at the start. I think it might be more accurate to call it 12 kilometer straight of redemption, because as soon as I finished that last update, the going suddenly felt a lot easier and I was back on pace. Not the pace I was running at the start of this marathon, but because I banked a bit of time, every kilometer since has been under the sort of time that I would need to break 3:30. And just, if my maths is right, if I run 5 minute 10-second kilometers for the last 7k, then that will take me home in a sub 3:30. Feeling like it slipped away 5k ago, but yeah, this straight's turned out to be a bit of a saviour.
See? Not so bad after all. There was no headwind and my spirits at this point were well and truly lifted. I was confident that my 3:30 finishing time was back on the cards. The only slight but rapidly growing concern was cramp. I wasn't quite cramping up just yet, but my muscles were sending clear and unmistakable threats, and even the occasional warning twinge. Did I have the endurance, electrolytes and fueling to keep this going to the end?
So you can see the sun's up now, 40k. Again, if my math's right, I have to run, what, 2 5:25s will take me in just under target, provided I can hit the last 200 meters in a minute flat, 12k pace. And yeah, I feel like I've got enough in the tank. I can, even if I fall behind, probably gas it. What I meant to start off with saying is that I am really struggling. Life is pain right now. Hip flexors are starting to feel really tight and sore. Calves are not so happy. The cramping issue is looming. I got some of that spray at the last medical station I passed. I wonder if I might get a little quick spray again, because I think I've got the time. Oh, left foot is starting to really cramp now. It's only about 2k left, and I've just got to cruise it. I think I can do that. I think I can do that. Oh, hello. Come on.
It might not immediately seem clear why I'm emphasizing this, but it's important to say that those last few kilometers weren't slower because I physically couldn't keep up the pace. They were slower because I was certain that I didn't need to. At this point in a marathon, my heart rate would usually be drifting up towards and even past the 170 mark. I was keeping it at steady 162 to 164 because I didn't need to maintain my pace to finish in time, and so I chose not to push.
Oh, hamstrings tightening up. That was unpleasant. 1k to go. I'm dying here. But I've got this. I swear, we have got this. Come on. It's just like 5 minutes or something. Not even that. Okay, quick update. About 800 meters to go. The cramp is setting in. I might have to limp part of this. And I've got a little bit of time in the bag, but not so much that I can like a limp 100 meters, I don't think. I think this could be really, really close. Looks like it's gone somewhere in the last few K. The distance on my watch has gone way out of whack with the distance on the course. If that 500 meter sign is right, I can't do this. That is gutting if that's true.
And that is what was so demoralizing about this. The fact that if I'd have known how much there was to go from about 40k, I am certain now, and I was certain then, that I had enough in the tank to push. It was the fact that by the time I found out I had to go for it, it was already way too late to make up the time.
Yeah, T30's gone. That's annoying because my watch was in sync with the kilometer markers up until about 35k. I didn't see any more up until like 41 or whatever. What I thought was 41 and a half. They said, hey, you've got a kilometer left to go. So, fuck. That's all I can say.
And here is the finish. Not, I maintain, where it should be. My time was 3:31:35, minus the roughly 27 seconds it took me to hit the start line. That puts me 1 minute and 9 seconds behind my nominal target.
I just need to lean here for a second. I should be gutted about that. I said it was gutting. But like, based on all the markers up until the very last one, based on my watch, based on everything, I was on time. I was running slightly within myself on the basis that I had the time. I don't know what happened. Like either that last kilometer marker is way off or the last 5k of that race, my Garmin GPS just went haywire. But yeah, I gave my all. I had a good race. I was not expecting to do well. Training block hasn't been great. It's by far my best ever run at an actual event. I did not stop once, apart from to get stuff sprayed on my legs, so that doesn't really count. I'm happy with that, I am. I'm gonna go see if I can't find something to drink and find someone to sit down. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Might need that, it's kind of nippy. And Yon might not be here for about half an hour. Who knows?
Can I see your...
Yes, sir.
I need to take it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the seaside over there. I'm gonna take a look while we wait. Gave it some welly on the last 500 meters. And blind hope that I can make it to 3:30. Again, I'm gonna have to look at the GPS. Either something was wrong with the markers or something went really wrong with the watch and somehow I didn't know it. Anyway, I'm gonna turn this off for a sec. I'll go see you when I'm wrapped in tinfoil and we're looking at what appears to be a very brown sea. Oh, that cramp is bona fide 8 out of 10 level agony. Oh, Jesus. Don't know why people run marathons. They're not fun. That might have been the most enjoyable one I've run. Might be. I don't know. Oh, medals over there. Hopefully no one's gonna steal it. I'm just gonna... Like, look how high this wall is. It's not like I'm trying to get myself down onto the floor or anything, but oh, it's bending down to sit on that is hard, man. Told you it was a very brown sea. Some Runny man trivia for you. Me and my wife had our wedding not far from here. Not sure whether it was down that way or down that way, but yeah, on the beach. Not the actual marriage procedure like registry or whatever. Had to do that in Hong Kong. Thank you, Chinese government policy of not allowing 2 foreigners to get married on the mainland. I might go and try and find a cafe because it's cold out here. And I don't know when Nom's going to turn up. But I think it's likely to be in about, could be like 20 minutes or something. I don't really want to catch hypothermia. I don't think that would be fun. Nice warm noodles. Hopefully stave off the hypothermia. Oh, that ride back was horrible. Yeah, I'm gonna eat this, get warm, and then have a little race recap maybe.
Hey, back home. Been back home for about 2 days now, so you can see how on top of things I am. But yeah, finally gonna get around and just do a quick little sort of thoughts on the race. Not really a recap as such, but first let me have a little sip of tea. Oh, it's hot. Zhengshan Shaozhuang, in case you were wondering about that one. And yeah, let's get started. 3:30 or 3:31, if you trust their chip time. Obviously isn't what I was going for. It's not as fast as I thought I was capable of on the day, and it's certainly not as fast as I was sort of capable of earlier in the year. But you sort of got to focus on where you are and how things have been going before the race, and considering how ill I was with the half marathon last month, I'm happy with 3:30. I'm more happy with how the race went, in that while it wasn't really constant pace and I did sort of start to drift at the end, I think I paced it pretty well. I managed the race pretty well. I struggled but didn't give up, managed to adjust my pace and sort of my effort accordingly. And one of the reasons my time slipped at the end is because I was on for 3:30 and I just didn't feel like I wanted to push and go all out. My watch had me down as a 3:28.5 or something, 3:29. Although to be honest, I don't really care. If it was a PB, I'd probably be a lot more concerned about this. So yeah, whatever, call it a 3:31 and I'm happy with that anyway. All in all, I think the race was pretty well organised. I certainly enjoyed it. It was a lot better than the Halong race in terms of organisation. And while the course wasn't exactly picturesque, I actually enjoyed running at night or early in the morning, which I was surprised by. There was something different about the atmosphere. It was, yeah, something I've not done before. I mean, obviously I was running it through the dark in Halong, but like Halong was so awful in terms of my experience that I can't really judge it as a race. That was my marathon experience. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again next time out. Bye. Boxing Day Marathon 2024. Time to get going. 3, 2, 1, go.